I am the Highland scribe, Cheryl L. Hudson, storyteller. I am about to begin. Are you ready? I am the Highland scribe, scribe to the stones, to the winds, to the bloodlines. Thou walk unseen, come closer, closer still. The fire's warm, but this tale tonight, this tale runs cold. Have you ever heard of the ghost beside the hanging tree? Now, this was passed down to the Stuarts by a clan that no longer speaks its own name. They say the wind in the Highlands remembers things long after the people forget, especially death. And in the northern glen near Loch Droman, where the land still rises like a spine, the wind remembers her. It was the year of our Lord 1649, and two brothers, Branach and Teig, passed through the high hills on their way home from the market at Droney. They were sons of a line not written in any record, a wandering folk. No tartan, no home. Said to be part healer, part thief, and all shadow. No one remembers the name of their clan anymore, and some say that that's the price they paid for what happened that night. They took the high pass to save time, a cursed path that skirted the bone white ash on the moor, the one where the hanging tree lay. The mist rolled in thick as well, and that's when they saw her. A woman crumpled on the trail. She was weeping. She was grieving. She was worn thin by centuries of loss. Her dress was soaked, her hands black with peat, and her face too pale. It was as if something had leached the warmth right out of her centuries ago. She looked up, not at Branach, but straight at his brother. And she spoke in a voice that did not match her face. It was too old, too hollow, like wind moving through bone. And she begged them, please, please, I don't want to die alone. Bury me beside the hanging tree. Branach froze. He'd heard the stories. Aye, every child of that clan had. He grabbed his brother's arm. Dinna touch her. That's nae woman. That's the bone mourner. But Teig, soft-eyed, foolish Teig, took a step forward. And as he did, he placed his hand upon her shoulder. She looked up and she smiled. Branach didn't hesitate. He unsheathed the shard blade that their grandmother had wrapped in lambskin and salt. Now, it was never meant to kill, only to cut what cannot be named. He swung it not at the woman, but at her shadow, because her shadow didn't follow the moonlight. It writhed by itself. She screamed, not a human sound, but a wail that shook the trees and made Brannan's ears bleed. The mist exploded outwards in a blast of cold, and then she was gone. Only the ash tree remained, and the strange silence of the land holding its breath. As they arrived in town, Teig never said a word. They were greeted by the local minister, and as he took them in and handed them a warm drink, they never spoke for a while, until the minister broke the silence by asking, "You seen her, didn't you? The witch at the hanging tree?" Branagh looked him right in the eye and said, "Aye, my brother touched her." And she looked at him and smiled. Within seconds, the minister packed their stuff and sent them out on their way. When they arrived back in their own village, months went by, and he never spoke. He lived for 4 months, continually waking in his sleep and murmuring in tongues that made no sense. Then one night, he vanished. They hunted for him with no fit. They couldn't find him. They hunted for him and there was no sign. They found his boots though, near the hanging tree. Nothing else. Not even a footprint. Nothing but a fresh pile of dirt. Now Branagh decided he was going to dig and have a look. And as he moved just the top layer, there he found it. His brother's brooch. Now Branagh went on to get married and told the tale to his son, and his son told the tale to his, and it went on. But this tale was never passed in books. It was more a whisper and a warning. And when the clans finally scattered, bled out by time and famine, strange accidents, they gave the story to my line. A gift or a curse, they said. The choice is yours. The Stuarts have carried this, tucked beneath their name like a stone in the boot, in my line. A story that no one believes when you tell it, until it's too late. And here is what my line has learned over the time, from those little fragments that have been passed down. The bone mourner was never alive. She was called. In the time before language, when death wore no cloak, and souls were just weightless echoes. There were women born in that time to carry sorrows, and most were buried with honours. But one refused to be buried at all. And from what they found out, she had been hanged there as a witch. She bound herself to that ash tree, not as a symbol of death, but of return. A tree whose roots grew in circles. Her grief deepened with every century that passed by, bloating until it needed release. So she walks this earth, not to find peace, but to offload pain. She chooses the kind-hearted, the broken, the quiet ones who carry silent grief. And if they touch her, even once, She opens the door in their soul, and what comes through is older than her. She doesn't just take them, she hollows them out. That's what happened to Teig. His body fed the tree, his grief fed her, and now she knows the bloodline. Not the name. Names change. But a bloodline, well, they say if the wind suddenly dies when you pass near Loch Droman, if the mist thickens even without rain, if you hear weeping where no one stands, don't stop, don't look, never answer. Carry this holy water, because she remembers kindness and she hates it. And every 100 years, it's said she calls. Next time, you never know. It could be your griefs that she answers. And the hanging tree always leaves room for one more. I am the Highland scribe, scribe to the stones, to the winds, and to the bloodlines that lie unseen. So remember, when the fire dies and all is quiet, and you feel a cold breath at the back of your neck, it might not be the wind that's breathing on you. Good night, and sleep well.